Welcome to the Prepper Almanac. Thank you for joining us today. It is deeply appreciated. In today's video, we are going to discuss World War III prepper planning. And if I give you value in today's video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. Also, check out the link in the description below to some offers for free prepper items and prepper gear that I've come across. Some of them are pretty cool, so check out that link at your convenience. Today we're not trekking through the Amazon or scaling Everest, we're facing a different beast altogether, and that's the prospect of World War III. Now, I've stared down grizzly bears, wrestled crocs, and eaten my fair share of creepy crawlies, but surviving a global conflict? That's a whole different ballgame. Listen up, because the stakes have never been higher. We're talking about being truly self-sufficient, ready to face whatever chaos comes our way. Forget fancy gadgets and creature comforts in a scenario such as this. It's about grit, determination, and having the right gear. Today, we are going to discuss the knowledge you need to survive, and maybe even thrive, in the face of adversity. We're talking about securing the basics like food, water, shelter, security. This isn't about panicking, it's about preparation. Just like a climber checks his ropes and an explorer maps his route, we need to be ready for anything. So pack your mental rucksack, check your survival instincts at the door, and let's get down to business. In times of a potential global conflict, food and water aren't just niceties, they're lifelines. We're talking about the very fuel that keeps your body going, the essential elements that separate the survivors from the non-survivors. Remember, panic leads to poor decisions, and poor decisions can be deadly. First up is food. Forget those fancy 5-course meals. We're talking about sustenance, pure and simple. Stockpile long-lasting grub that'll survive anything. These can be things like freeze-dried meals, dehydrated fruits and veggies, canned goods, the works. And don't forget those MREs, those military rations packed with enough calories to keep you going when the going gets tough. Now, variety is the spice of life, even in a crisis. You need a good balance of protein, carbs, and fats. Think of it as packing your survival rucksack, as you'll need the right tools for the job, and in this case, your body is the tool. Don't underestimate the power of a well-fed belly. It can make the difference between a clear head and a critical error. Water, it's the lifeblood of our planet, essential for every single bodily function. In a world turned upside down, securing clean water is non-negotiable. Forget those fancy water coolers and bottled brands, we're going back to basics. Aim for at least 1 gallon per person, per day. That's your baseline, your survival minimum. Now, storing water is one thing, but what about purification? You can't always rely on bottled supplies. Rivers, streams, even rainwater, these become your potential lifelines. Invest in a good water purification system, something that can handle bacteria, viruses, the lot. Think of it as your personal water treatment plant, ensuring every drop that passes your lips is safe. There are portable filters, purification tablets, even good old boiling. Get to know your options, experiment, find what works for you. Remember, panic leads to dehydration, and dehydration isn't good in a prepper scenario. Stay one step ahead, be resourceful, and never underestimate the power of a good drink of water. It could save your life. Now, I'm all about peace and diplomacy, but in a world gone sideways, sometimes you need to defend yourself. We're talking about protecting your family, your supplies, your very survival. And that's where having the right tools for the job comes in. In the unforgiving scenario of a global conflict, a reliable firearm can mean the difference between eating and becoming someone else's meal. We're not talking about becoming Rambo, but having a means to deter threats and secure resources when necessary. Consider a versatile rifle for long-range accuracy, a trusty shotgun for close encounters, and a reliable handgun for personal protection. And don't forget the ammunition, plenty of it. This isn't a target practice, this is about real-world preparedness. Remember folks, firepower isn't the only answer. Sometimes a more silent approach is required. Non-firearm weapons like a sturdy knife or a well-balanced machete can be just as effective and often more practical. A good blade can be used for everything from defense to preparing food to building shelter. Learn the art of stealth, of moving silently and blending into your surroundings. Remember, the element of surprise can be your greatest weapon. Practice your skills, learn basic self-defense techniques, and make sure you're comfortable handling these tools. A weapon is only as good as the person wielding it. So be prepared, be vigilant, and never underestimate the importance of being able to defend yourself and those you care about. We've secured our food and water, and we've got our defenses sorted. Now, let's talk about staying alive when the going gets tough. Injuries are a real threat, and hospitals might be a luxury we can't afford. A well-stocked first aid kit is a must-have. Be prepared for anything: cuts, burns, sprains, as these are everyday dangers. Pack bandages, antiseptic wipes, and pain relief. A small wound can turn nasty quickly. Painkillers can make a world of difference. Pain can cloud your judgment. Every decision counts. Make sure your kit is well organized. Practice basic first aid techniques with your family. Now, a basic first aid kit is a good start, but we need to think beyond those everyday injuries. We're talking about long-term survival here. That means being prepared for more serious medical situations. Antibiotics are a must-have. In a grid-down situation, even a simple infection can become life-threatening. It's crucial to have a broad-spectrum antibiotic on hand, but remember, use it responsibly and only when absolutely necessary. Next up, consider any personal medications that you or your family members rely on. This could be anything from insulin for diabetes to inhalers for asthma. Don't wait until the last minute to stock up on a few months' worth of essential medications. Finally, don't underestimate the importance of hygiene. Soap, hand sanitizer, toothpaste, and toilet paper are important. These might seem like small things, but they're essential for maintaining sanitation and preventing the spread of disease. Remember, in a survival situation, something as simple as diarrhea can quickly become a serious threat. Alright, we've taken care of our bodies, now let's talk about the tools that will help us survive. In a true prepper situation, you learn to be resourceful, to adapt and overcome. Your most valuable companion is a good multi-tool. A quality multi-tool is like having a whole toolbox in your pocket. It's got your pliers, your screwdrivers, your knife, and your saw, everything you need for those everyday tasks that suddenly become a matter of survival. Trust me. Whether you're building a shelter, repairing your gear, or just trying to open a can of beans, a multi-tool will be your best friend. But it's not just about the multi-tool. We need to be prepared for the heavy lifting, the real grunt work of survival. That's where your axe and your hatchet come in. These are essential for collecting firewood, clearing debris, and even building more permanent structures if need be. Remember, a sharp blade is a safe blade. Make sure your axe and hatchet are well maintained, and always use extreme caution when handling them. One wrong move and you could end up needing that first aid kit we talked about. Now let's talk about power. In a grid-down situation, we can't rely on our usual creature comforts. We need to be self-sufficient, and that means finding alternative ways to power our essential devices. A portable generator can be a lifesaver. It can provide power for lights, communication devices, and even small appliances. But remember, fuel is a precious commodity, so use it wisely. Consider investing in a solar charger as well. It's a great way to harness the power of the sun to keep your smaller devices topped up. And speaking of light, don't forget about flashlights and headlamps. When darkness falls, you need to be able to see what you're doing, whether you're navigating through your shelter or keeping an eye out for danger. Stock up on extra batteries, you can never have too many. Finally, let's talk about fire. Fire is essential for warmth, for cooking, and for signaling for help. A fire starter kit is an absolute must-have. Learn different fire starting techniques and practice them regularly. Trust me, the ability to start a fire in any condition is a skill that could save your life. We've talked about the tools, the power sources that'll keep us going when the grid goes down or something bigger, but remember, the most important energy source is the one that keeps us alive, and that's food. In a long-term survival situation, we need to think beyond those initial stockpiles. We need to think about sustainability. That's where alternative cooking methods come in. A portable camping stove is a great option. It's compact, efficient, and runs on readily available fuel canisters, but remember, those canisters won't last forever. We need to be resourceful. Learning to build and use a campfire for cooking is essential. It's a primal skill, a connection to our ancestors who relied on fire for survival. It's not just about cooking food, it's about boiling water, sterilizing equipment, and providing warmth and light. And don't underestimate the power of the sun. Solar ovens might seem like something out of a science fiction movie, but they're a real and viable option for cooking food using nothing but the sun's energy. Energy isn't just about cooking and light. Staying warm can be the difference between life and death. Firewood is your friend. Gather fallen branches, dead wood, and anything that will burn. Consider investing in a portable propane heater. Stockpile a variety of batteries. Invest in rechargeable batteries and a solar charger. Learn to conserve energy and adapt. The more prepared you are, the better your chances of survival. We've covered the essentials of food, water, and self-defense, but surviving in a crazy situation requires more than just brute strength. You need a fortress, a sanctuary against the elements. We're talking about shelter. A solid shelter, much like a well-camouflaged hideout, can be the difference between a good night's sleep and a night fending off the cold or worse. First things first, you need a good tent. And I'm not talking about those flimsy things you use at music festivals. We're talking heavy-duty, waterproof, tear-resistant material that can withstand the worst Mother Nature can throw at it. Remember, this is your haven, your last line of defense against the elements. Choose wisely. Now, inside that fortress, you'll need something to cushion those weary bones. A high-quality sleeping bag is non-negotiable. Look for one with a high warmth rating and don't skimp on size. You need to be able to move around comfortably. Now, a good prepper knows that a single layer of protection is rarely enough. We need backup, an insurance policy against the unknown. That's where tarps and emergency blankets come in. Tarps are like the multi-tool of the shelter world. Need to reinforce a weak spot in your tent? Use a tarp. Need to collect rainwater? Use a tarp. Need to create a makeshift stretcher to carry an injured comrade? You guessed it, tarp. Emergency blankets, on the other hand, are your secret weapon against the cold. These lightweight, compact lifesavers reflect your body heat, keeping you warm even in sub-zero temperatures. Trust me, they're worth their weight in gold. Finally, don't underestimate the importance of insulation. Packing extra clothing, blankets, even dry leaves and grasses can make a world of difference in maintaining your body heat. Remember, staying warm is about more than just comfort, it's about survival. In a crisis, communication can be the difference between life and death. It's not just about staying in touch with loved ones, it's about gathering vital information, coordinating with potential allies, and staying one step ahead of danger. Now, in a true survival situation, your smartphone's battery won't last long. That's why every prepper worth their salt needs a reliable backup plan. Two-way radios are a good start. Choose a set with a long range and weatherproof casing. But remember, radio waves can be intercepted. For truly secure communication, nothing beats a satellite phone. These bad boys can connect you to anyone in the world, even with limited infrastructure. They're not cheap, but when it comes to staying connected in a crisis, they're worth every penny. Sometimes broadcasting your location is just as important as direct communication. That's where signal flares and whistles come in handy. Flares are a universal distress signal, visible for miles, even in broad daylight. A good whistle, on the other hand, can be used to signal for help, scare off wildlife, or even communicate with your group over short distances. Remember, 3 sharp blasts is a universal distress signal. But communication isn't just about technology. It's about knowledge. A well-stocked library of survival manuals and first aid guides can be just as valuable as any piece of equipment. Learn how to identify edible plants, build a fire, and administer basic first aid. Remember, knowledge is power, and in a survival situation it can be the ultimate weapon. We've talked about the importance of shelter, but a true sanctuary needs more than just walls and a roof. It needs protection, a system of defense to keep you safe from both man and beast. Now, I'm not talking about turning your backyard into a fortress, but a few well-placed security measures can make all the difference. Start with the basics like a good security system, motion-activated lights, and sturdy locks on all doors and windows. But don't stop there. Think like a medieval strategist. Barriers, caltrops, even simple tripwires can provide an early warning system, giving you precious time to react to a threat. Remember, every second counts. Now, when it comes to personal protection, the right gear can be a lifesaver. We're talking tactical vests, pepper spray, even a sturdy walking stick can be used for self-defense if needed. But remember, the best weapon is always your mind. Stay alert, be aware of your surroundings, and trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't be afraid to retreat or call for help. Practice your defensive skills. Learn how to disarm an attacker, break a hold, and fight your way out of a dangerous situation. Remember, this isn't about aggression, it's about survival. The key to self-defense is not about seeking out conflict, but about being prepared to face it head-on. Stay vigilant, stay aware, and stay safe. Your life may depend on it. Right, we've covered the basics of survival, but staying put won't always cut it. In a full-blown conflict, you might need to relocate, and that's where reliable transportation comes in. Forget about your gas-guzzling 4x4s. We're talking about resilience and efficiency here. First up, a good sturdy bicycle. It's eco-friendly, quiet, and won't leave you stranded when fuel runs dry. Trust me, in a crisis, a bicycle can be your best friend. Make sure you've got a puncture repair kit and a pump, because a flat tire in the wrong place could spell disaster. Now, I'm not saying completely ditch fuel. Having some stored away along with a fuel stabilizer could be a lifesaver for short trips or powering generators. But remember, fuel degrades over time, so rotate your stock regularly. And if you're feeling really adventurous, consider alternative transportation like a motorcycle or even horses. They might require a bit more know-how, but they can be invaluable in a pinch. Choosing the right mode of transport depends on your individual needs and environment. Got a family to move? You'll need something with carrying capacity. Facing rough terrain? A motorcycle might be your best bet. Remember, this isn't a Sunday drive. It's about adapting to survive. Now, before you even think about hitting the road, map out potential routes and identify safe havens along the way. Look for back roads and alternative paths, avoiding major highways that could be congested or worse, war zones. Knowledge is power, and in this scenario, a well-planned route could be the difference between life and death. And don't forget, maintaining your chosen mode of transport is crucial. Learn basic mechanics, stock up on spare parts, and practice your repair skills. Because when the going gets tough, you don't want to be caught with a flat tire and no way to fix it. Remember, in a survival situation, your vehicle is your lifeline. Now let's talk about the things that'll not only help you survive, but thrive in a post-collapse world. And it all starts with knowledge. Forget fancy gadgets, the most valuable tool you can have is up here. Stock up on books about self-sufficiency, wilderness survival, first aid, and even gardening. These will be your lifeline when the internet is down and experts are scarce. Learn how to identify edible plants, build a fire from scratch, and treat common injuries. Trust me, this knowledge is worth its weight in gold. Next, consider survival seeds. Being able to grow your own food is essential for long-term sustainability. Choose heirloom varieties that are adaptable, disease-resistant, and can be saved for replanting. A small packet of seeds can provide you and your family with sustenance for years to come. Now, surviving any crisis isn't just about physical preparedness, it's about mental resilience too. Pack a few books for entertainment, maybe a deck of cards, something to keep your spirits up during the long nights. Remember, hope is a powerful motivator. And let's not forget about our furry companions. If you're a pet owner, make sure you have enough food, water, and medication for them too. They rely on us, and in a crisis, their companionship can be a real morale booster. Finally, consider bartering items. Cash might be useless, but things like coffee, tea, spices, lighters, and even hygiene products could become valuable commodities. Having a few of these tucked away could give you a trading advantage in a post-collapse world. So there you have it, a prepper's guide to surviving World War III. Remember, this isn't about panicking, it's about being prepared for any eventuality. The key is to start small, build up your supplies gradually, and most importantly, never stop learning. As we wrap up today's video, if you have any questions or if there are any topics that you would like discussed in the future, let us know in the comment section below. We love to get video ideas from the community. Let us know what you think of today's video as well. We always appreciate input. And be sure to like today's video and subscribe to the channel in order to be notified of the next prepper video we release. Check out the link in the description of the video for a $25 restaurant voucher as a thank you for subscribing to the channel. And as mentioned earlier, also check out the link in the description for a list of offers of free prepper gear and free prepper items to check out. And thanks for swinging by the Prepper Almanac today. It's appreciated.